Back here on CBS Sports HQ, Camp Randall is going to be jumping on Saturday as Wisconsin welcomes the #1 team in the country. It's our big-time game of the week on CBS, kicking off at 3:30 Eastern. The Buckeyes have won 10 straight over the Badgers. Can they make it 11? Our college football pregame crew is also on the road, and look who we found hanging out in Madison. I'm going to hand things off to the crew of Emily Proud, Damian Harris, Danny Cannell, and Bryant B-Mac McFadden, guys.
Thank you, Haley. Yeah, we are in downtown Madison, an absolutely gorgeous day, probably a little bit toastier than we were expecting. I say that myself, wearing a sweater here, but not a lot of people are talking about the home team this weekend. A lot are talking about the road team, the #1 team in the nation, the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're, of course, a multi-touchdown favorite in this one, and Ryan Day always talks about how he wants to fight this complacency. Danny, what's impressed you most about this year's Buckeyes team coming off already winning a national title?
You know, it's already hard enough. I think it's the hardest thing to do in all sports is to repeat as a champion because you have to replicate that hunger. But that's with guys returning as well. The amount of pieces they lost off this team, both coordinators. I mean, you could go over the list. Defensive players. They got Emeka Ibuka in the NFL right now. Their quarterback, Will Howard. All these pieces. And they even look potentially better and more dominant than they have last year. I think it's really a testament to the culture that Ryan Day has, where you start having guys that were on last year's team, and they talk to the younger players and talk about a standard that is there. And it's a standard of greatness that you have not seen one bit of drop-off. That's probably the most impressive to me, is just the focus and the intensity and the standard that they've set and maintained it.
Well, for me, the most impressive thing that I've seen so far with this Buckeyes team has been defense. Matt Patricia, that might be one of the best signings in college football in terms of what he's done. And Danny, you talked about the players they lost on the defensive side. We can't tell. We haven't felt any loss from 2024's national championship team because of his coaching and how he's gotten his guys to be dialed in. This arguably could be the best defensive unit we've ever seen come from Columbus in terms of points allowed. They just allowed double-digit points for the first time last week. I mean, that's hard to do in terms of when you're blowing teams out and then you're putting in backups and still living up to the billing. So when you talk about the success that they've had, no question the coaching has been outstanding on the offensive end. But when you look at the job that Matt Patricia has done on the defensive side, it has been amazing.
I would echo everything that you gentlemen just said, but I'm going to bring a new twist to it. I want to talk about how unselfish this Ohio State offense has been. You've got the Heisman frontrunner going into the season in Jeremiah Smith. He's not demanding the ball on every play. He doesn't show the frustration that he's not the leading receiver in college football. And then you look at a guy like Julian Sayin, which is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's leading the country in completion percentage, but he doesn't care about throwing 80-yard touchdowns. He just wants to do whatever is asked of him. That way the offense can continue to move the ball forward and just continue to stay in front of the chains in the down and distance. And when you're so good, when you've already won a national championship like Jeremiah Smith is, sometimes you have to fight the battle of me and the selfishness of wanting to get all those individual accolades, all the individual awards after you've already won yourself a national championship. He's been a leader for this team. He's helped make things easy for Julian Sayin and not just allowing him to go out and just try to force the ball. They just let the offense happen naturally, organically, and I think that's a part of the reason why they're having so much success offensively.
Yeah, based on what we've seen from this Buckeyes team and everything you guys said, while we're seeing upsets across the sport, it seems as if the Buckeyes are almost upset-proof to this point, and that was an intentional jinx, so we see some fun happen tomorrow. But before we get to tomorrow's game, there's a lot of fun action happening tonight in the sport. We've got Louisville on the road at Miami. Of course, Miami coming off a big win at Florida State. They've had the whole bye week to drink that perfume, potentially, B-Mac. How do they avoid the trap game tonight?
Getting off to a fast start. I think that has been the one calling card for the success with Miami, getting off to a fast start, not playing with their food. And this is a very, very intriguing Louisville team. When you look at defense, they have the best defense in the ACC in terms of total yards allowed. And guess who's number 2? Miami. So Louisville has done a phenomenal job all 3 levels in playing nice assignment football, but most importantly, tackling the ball carrier or whoever the pass catcher is. So that's phenomenal. But for Miami, if they just get off to a fast start, they have the dudes to be able to weather the storm, to take care of business. But you do not want to allow a team like Louisville to gain confidence. And get this, the last team to beat Miami there at Hard Rock Stadium was Louisville back in 2023. So they've had success there in that stadium in years past. Of course, they're trying to repeat the same success they had in 2023.
Well, for me, it's about playing to a standard. And when I played for Alabama, when I played for Nick Saban, we always played to a standard because we knew every team is going to give us their best shot. A team like Louisville that's coming into our home, they're going to try to play spoiler to what we are trying to get to, what we're trying to accomplish. So for Miami, as good as you've been offensively, as good as you've been defensively, we've talked about this, one of the best teams in the country. You have to play like that. You have to play to that standard. To B-Mac's point, you can't come out and play with your food because this is a Louisville team that doesn't have the athletes that you do. They don't have the coaching you do. No, you have to play to a standard like you're playing in that national championship because, again, I must stress how important these games are. These are trap games. These are opportunities for you to go out and walk around, you know, kind of tiptoe through the tulips, and then you end up getting your face blown in. So for Miami, it's just going to be about playing to a new level of standard that they have built this season and maintaining that.
Boys, I'm a little worried for Miller Moss and his health tonight. I mean, he's somebody who has struggled with pressure, whether it was last year at USC, even this year at Louisville. If you get pressure on him, and a lot of quarterbacks are this way, but he really does not thrive in that. He's not very mobile. He throws in the pocket. He can get a little bit errant with the football, and now he's got Ruben Boehm and Akeem Mesidor coming off the edge at him. I think it could be a long night, but Jeff Brom is a great offensive coordinator. They do have some weapons at the skill position. Chris Bell is a great wide receiver. Isaac Brown's a great running back, but he's been banged up. They've got to have a game plan to get the ball out of Miller Moss's hands quickly. If they do, maybe they can sustain some drives, but ultimately I think it could be a long night for Miller Moss.
It's been 2 decades since Miami has lost at home as a top 5 team. Elsewhere, we've got a ranked team, Nebraska and Minnesota. Most of the talk this week about Nebraska has been their head coach in Matt Rule. So, Damian, from a former player standpoint, if you're in that locker room and every time you Google or see on TikTok Matt Rule and they're talking about another job for him, how do you compartmentalize that and how do you get rid of it and focus on playing football tonight?
Well, I bet it's very easy because if I know Matt Rule at all, which we did have the opportunity to sit down and speak with him, the guy that Matt Rule is, he doesn't allow that type of external negativity or the external noise to affect his football team. He talks about having a standard. He talks about blocking out external things that don't result in winning football games. Everything that he sat there and told us, I guarantee you he has said to his players. And now he talked about it with us. He wants a team that is player-led and player accountability filled. So even if there was a guy in the locker room that was like, man, Coach Rule, is he going to be back next year? I'm sure he's dependent on guys like Dylan Raiola to go grab him by the side and say, hey, we got a game to play. Coach Rule is still our head coach, so as of right now, we just got to do what we can to keep winning football games because we are trying to accomplish something this season. We're not just throwing the towel and we're not tanking. So it's going to be on Matt Rule to address that with his players, but it's also going to be on the players, leaders like Dylan Raiola, to have that type of internal accountability to keep everybody on the same page, which is focused on beating Minnesota.
I think it's a really interesting spot for Nebraska because of some of the distractions that have taken place. Also, you got to look at Minnesota. They're 4-2. They had the loss against Cal. It looked awful, but then Cal's got a quarterback who's pretty good. That doesn't look as bad. And PJ Fleck's going to be rowing that boat up and down the sidelines. It's a road atmosphere. We saw them in Maryland, struggle a little bit. I think it's a really interesting spot for Nebraska where we find out just how good they are. Minnesota's defense is not as good as it was last year, so I think Minnesota's going to try to run the football at them, much like we saw Michigan try to establish that. I think the line is really tight. I think it's a good number. I think this game's going to be about a touchdown game in the fourth quarter.
To your point, it's a trap game. This is a trap game for Nebraska. Weird night, Friday night football on the road, national stage. When you look at Dylan Raiola, it's almost like the highs and the lows with him. We know he's ultra talented, but sometimes he doesn't see the football field well. Even going back to a week ago, they won the ball game, but you saw some untimely interceptions that surfaced in his ball game. And if those things happen tonight against the Gophers on the road, this could be a 4-quarter ball game all the way to the end. Very, very intriguing spot for either team. For Nebraska, if you're one of the teams that feel like they should be in that conversation of potential sleeper to represent the conference, this is the type of ball game you win. And if you're Minnesota, you want to earn respect, you go out and take care of your business on the national stage under the brightest lights. But I love trap games on Friday night. Anything can happen. Beware.
Yeah, and to your point about Matt Rule and talking to his team, he's also been talking in the media quite a bit this week, so you know that their players will hear that. When we're talking about distractions, I want to go to Chapel Hill. North Carolina.
What's
They're not
going on
going to be in Chapel Hill tonight. How much time you got? They're going to head out west to play Cal, and between the various statements that were released this week and what's happening on podcasts today in particular and some infighting, all these, is it possible for them to sweep that under the rug and focus on playing football? Is it a different situation than what we're seeing in Nebraska?
I don't even know. I don't even care about the distractions. They're just not a good football team. And that's what I want to see. They've been outscored by Power 4 opponents 120-33. Like, until I see them competitive against a Power 4 team, I don't believe it. I know Bill Belichick was saying we see progress. We see, the players are improving. I don't trust him. I don't believe him. And I mentioned that quarterback at Cal, Jaron Sagapolotele, is a stud. He's a true freshman.
Man.
I just call him JKS. It's a lot easier. But I think this is an opportunity. All right, Bill Belichick, show us. You had a bye week. Show us that you've made some improvements. And I think keeping this game within one possession is a massive step forward. I don't expect it, though, because I'm very curious how that locker room, you're hearing parents complain about players getting different treatment, and I think those are real. I think those are real rumors. I'm very curious to see what Carolina looks like tonight.
I agree with Danny. I think that when you look at the temperature, you check the temperature around the North Carolina program, it's cold. Everywhere you look at it. And then when you want to talk about the football field, they're not a good football team. They're among the last. They're 130 and above out of 136 teams defensively in almost every statistical category. Then you look offensively, they have not scored more than 14 points once this year. So to Danny's point, until we see a competitive effort on the field from this football team, we can talk about Bill Belichick as much as we want. We can talk about the off-the-field situation as much as we want, but until we see a good result on the football field, that is what's most important, and that is the saga that North Carolina is dealing with Bill Belichick. Not the off-the-field stuff, but the product that is being shown on the football field.
You know what? Every day I usually watch soap operas on Paramount Plus, CBS. Watch Bold and Beautiful, Young and the Restless,
Old school, I like
and Beyond the Gates. And the thing about soap operas that I love is always some type of drama going on. And right now, in terms of college football, North Carolina, they're the best soap opera in college football because of the unexpected drama that's tied to their organization. Under Bill Belichick, you guys hit on two key things. Yes, they're not a good football team, but you know why? Because their coaches are not dialed in, and it starts with the head man in charge and Bill Belichick. It's too many distractions that have been tied to him that has influenced the entire roster. That's why we're seeing what we're seeing, the unexpected play. We knew it would be an uphill climb, a rebuild with so many transfers coming into the building, but no one thought it would be this bad. Because when you have Bill Belichick, based on his coaching resume throughout his entire career, one thing he did not tolerate was nonsense and not being dialed in. But guess what? All of that has circulated within the building because the head man has been tied to too many soap opera-like distractions. So until they exercise those demons, they will continue to be a bad team, and the Bears will roll on against the Tar Heels tonight. You better believe it. 4.5, take that easily. Take that easily.
There you go. Betting with BMAC. We got a bonus pick there, too. We're going to continue to talk about all the fun things that are happening in the sport of college football, but probably not a lot on the line as it pertains to the college football playoff with that game. But, man, there are so many CFP implications across the sport, including with my Vols in Tuscaloosa. We got a preview next.